Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. There is a big rematch on the undercard of Fury versus Usyk between Jai Opetaia and Mairis Briedis. Now, they have, of course, fought before. This is when Jai Opetaia won the belt. That was 22 months ago, nearly 2 years. And since then, Opetaia has fought twice, both against British opponents, and smashed them both up. And Briedis hasn't fought at all. So, if you've seen the first fight, you'll know it was an excellent fight to watch, but that Opetaia suffered a double fracture in his jaw. I read an interview with him a couple of months ago in Boxing News, and he said that essentially his jaw was hanging off by ligaments. So he had the two busts, and not a very nice image, but this is the game they're in. Now, bearing that in mind, bearing the fact that was such a savage fight against Briedis, and a legitimate decision win. I mean, I don't think Briedis won the fight, but when it came to fighting Jordan Thompson, which was 14 months after that fight, I thought Opetaia might struggle against Jordan Thompson. How wrong I was. Why did I think he would struggle against Jordan Thompson? Because Thompson undefeated. No, I didn't think Thompson was world class, but I just thought double fracture on your jaw, psychological effects of that. Jordan Thompson is a very big cruiserweight. I think he's since moved up to heavyweight. I thought it's possible he can take Opetaia around. I picked Opetaia to win, but I thought Opetaia, it would be he'd have to work for it. Not a bit of it. Opetaia smashed through Jordan Thompson in 4 rounds. It was kind of almost comical because, as I say, Thompson is a big cruiser and Opetaia is, an average-sized cruiser, not particularly big. And yet the little guy was just beating the living crap out of the bigger guy. And that was Thompson's first defeat of his career. As I say, I never thought of Thompson as being world-class. I just thought because of the circumstances, there were question marks over Opetaia, over, the jaw being busted. It's never quite the same, especially when you've had it busted in 2 places. And the fact that Thompson was a big lad, and I just thought he might struggle here. He didn't struggle at all, not at all. And then going back to moving on 3 months to was it called the Day of Reckoning, last December in Riyadh. Along comes Opetaia and does another British fighter, Ellis Zorro, another undefeated British cruiserweight. He does him in a round, and it was a huge left hook to the chin, which left Zorro flat out. I think his head was rested on the bottom rope. I mean, if you're going to get knocked out, at least that was a clean one. At least it wasn't a sustained beating. And Zorro, another guy who I never ever thought of as being anywhere near world class, but undefeated, could go a few rounds. It was a huge, huge ask for Zorro and for Thompson. So Opetaia wipes the floor with a couple of Brits who are untested at world level and looks devastating doing it. But of course, Briedis, at least on paper, is a different proposition, not least of all because they fought before and Briedis gave Opetaia hell. And Briedis at the time was considered to be the best cruiserweight in the world. His only previous defeat was to Alexander Usyk, and he gave Usyk, possibly Usyk, up to that point anyway, possibly Usyk's toughest fight. He did lose it, but, he legitimately lost it. But, you sort of looked at it and you thought, well, this guy's good. I mean, he's better than we thought. To force the issue with and make Usyk work so hard for every round, I mean, that was a pretty decent performance. His stock rose in defeat, as they say. But as I said before, since then he hasn't fought at all. Since the first Opetaia fight, he hasn't fought at all. Now, he is currently 28 wins with 20 KOs and those 2 defeats to Opetaia and Usyk, no draws. He's 6'1". This is Briedis I'm talking about. 6'1". He's from Latvia in Riga, lovely city. If you ever get a chance to visit, do so. But again, not someone you could ever see jump into heavyweight. He's not the biggest cruiserweight. He's not he'll never outgrow the division. And he's also in his sort of mid-30s, I think. Opetaia is only an inch taller. He's got very similar dimensions. He's 28, so he's probably in his prime. So you're talking about one guy with activity who is in his prime and another guy who is past his prime, or we think he's probably almost certainly past his prime. Hasn't fought at all for nearly 2 years. Where do you think this prediction's going? Look, I've got a lot of respect for Briedis, Mairis Briedis. Very good boxer, puncher, boxer, can box conservatively, or he can be front-footed. He does like to counter punch, but he can be offensive as well. Proved himself against an awful lot of very good opponents. His career kind of stagnated over perhaps the year before the Opetaia fight, but he does have 3-round win over Krzysztof Glowacki. He's beaten Dorticos. That was a majority decision, so that was quite a close fight. Marco Huck, he did him back, that was years ago, 2016, 2017, that sort of time, 7-8 years ago. Won a decision over him. He beat Mike Perez on a decision. These are all, good names. As a cruiserweight, he's proven himself to be a very good champion. And again, only Usyk beat him. But Opetaia is probably the best cruiserweight, I think, to come along since Usyk. And having already beaten Briedis when Briedis was 2 years younger, and this was over was it in Australia, Gold Coast? I think this is, the timing's all wrong for Briedis. Opetaia is a tremendous offensive fighter, hits extremely hard. Briedis has shown a terrific chin in the past, no doubt about it. He took everything Opetaia had. But then you do have to ask the question, Opetaia had his jaw busted early on. Had he not had that injury so early, would he have put the pressure on Briedis and not have had to have boxed so conservatively? Or I say that, but they were still having a tear up. But would he have had more about him and been able to put more pressure on Briedis and eventually stop him in that fight rather than just nick the points decision? That's a question. I think it's probably the answer might well be yes to that question. On this occasion, ignoring the potential for further injuries to the jaw or whatever, or the nose or the orbital bone or whatever, let's assume that they both, maybe avoid major injuries in the fight. I think there's only one man I can pick, and that's the pressure, the very educated, controlled, spiteful pressure of Jai Opetaia. I think Briedis, he'll take 3-4 rounds to shake off the ring rust at least. I know he's been doing this for most of his life, but there's no substitute whatsoever for activity, and Briedis just hasn't had enough of it. And you could argue at his age, maybe taking a little bit of time out is a good thing. Rest the body takes more time to recover, don't have such strenuous camps. But at the same time, nearly 2 years is too much, I think. And Opetaia, even though neither Jordan Thompson nor Ellis Zorro were world-class cruisers, they definitely, under the lights, one was I think Wembley Arena, I want to say, the other one was in Riyadh. The fact that Opetaia has been keeping busy, the fact that he's tried and tested, it's the stuff he's been working on in the gym. He no longer has to worry about the jaw re-breaking, or it could re-break, but, he's had a couple of runarounds. He's been under the lights. No, I think the pressure, the controlled, spiteful, hurtful pressure of Opetaia will be too much for Briedis at this point of Briedis' career. He's a very good fighter, Mairis Briedis, no doubt. I like him a lot, but considering the points they are in their respective careers, I got to go for Opetaia to stop Briedis probably in about 8 rounds, I think. Maybe 6, 7, 8. I'll go for the 8th. What the hell? Mid rounds anyway. And possibly the towel will come in, or the ref will probably be. Briedis, he's never ever shown anything other than heart, so I think he'll probably get stopped on on his feet. But Opetaia hits so hard he could knock anyone flat, and he is in it. To me, he is at the absolute peak of his powers, and I fully expect him to show that. Go through all of his skills and get Briedis out of there. And Briedis, I think, probably might retire afterwards. But hopefully they're both getting well paid. It's in Riyadh, so they should be. And anyway, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think Opetaia is going to stop Briedis? Maybe it'll be another points win? Or does Briedis have one last great performance left in him? You tell me. Comments below, of course, as always. Like the video if you like it, and please subscribe to the channel if you're new. It takes a second. Pop the subscribe button, join Joe Stunner Boxing, and spread the word, all right? Thank you very much for your time. Speak to you later, and bye for now.